Hello everyone, hope you're well and having much success with your trading. In this video I'm going to explain how the Snorm Indie panel works. It's a free indicator downloadable from forexe.com, so help yourself if you would like it. Basically, what does it do? It looks for indicator signals that you specify on any open charts. So as you can see, we've got these charts open down the bottom here. So it automatically finds them and lists them for you. And you specify the indicator that you want to look at, and it will show you if there's a signal on that chart. So we have an engulfing signal on the Euro Yen daily chart at the moment. I'll show you how we can specify that in a minute. Here you specify whether you want to look at the last close bar or the current bar. So at the end of the day on a Friday or over the weekend, you might want to set that to 0. So just to click on it and it changes it from 0 to 1 there. Incidentally, I'm doing this at the weekend, and some of these features don't work when you don't have tick data coming in. So I'm using the tick generator from fx1.net. It's free, you can go and download it if you want to play at weekends. These buttons down here allow you to change the time frame, so it will change the time frame on every open chart for you. So if you want to have a look at the M1s, there you go. As you can see, it's changed them all to M1, and it's found a pin bar signal on WTI spot there. We can scroll through and we'll change them like so. So let's just go back to, let's have a look at the daily quickly, and let's see, I'm using two panels here. It's obviously pin bars. We'll change that to a 0. Now you can see it's found some signals on the Kiwi and the Aussie Swiss franc there. So if we have a look at the Aussie Swiss franc, you can see there's our pin bar that it's found. Now the nice thing about this is you don't need the indicator loading on every chart. So for example, on the Kiwi here, I've got E-Waves harmonics loaded, and you can see it's not showing a signal, but there is what we would call a pin bar. Now I'm using some test indicators here that I've created for the purposes of this demonstration. And what you want to be careful of is some indicators will be very processor intensive. So if you've got a lot of charts open and you're referencing a processor intensive indicator, you may find this runs rather slowly. There is a way around that, which I will show you. And normally if you're into coding, the limit will be for the whole chart when it does its looping. So you can change your limit to, in this case I've changed it to 40 to just to reduce the amount of processing power. A lot of indicators you only really need to look at the last few bars. Some indicators may need to scroll through a lot of the bars to get the information it needs. So you can play around with that if you're a coder to reduce the processing overhead. The other thing, what else have we got? So you can change current and last bar. You've got the charts that are open, you've got the signal, and there is pop-up text for most of these things. So you can see there's an engulfing cell on the Euro Yen, and as the heading, it tells you that you're using the indicator name Snorm engulfing bars. If you click on forexe.com, that isn't just some blatant advertising for me, it gives you wingdings characters. Now these wingdings characters you may want to use when you set up your indicator. So if we have a look at this, I will explain what the options are. So those wingdings characters I just mentioned are here. Wingdings characters for the buy symbol. So that's a 112. And if we look here, a 112 is the square, which you can see there. So I've used the same for the buy and the sell. What it does, it does the the first one on the slightly to the left, and you'll find if there's a bullish one, it will be slightly to the right. So if it looks a little bit squonky in here, that's why. So in the options, you've got default reference bar. Current is 0, last is 1. You can only do 0 or 1. If you try and do more, you'll get an alert message. So that's the one we change here. So by default, you should be looking at the last closed bar, because a bar isn't meaningful until it's closed, as we all know. Space between rows just allows you to squeeze this up or spread it out a bit. The text color, well, that's pretty obvious. The starting row, in this case 50, so it's how far down it starts displaying this information. The indicator name, so that's the important one. You need to get that right, otherwise it will find nothing for you, and it will alert you if you've entered the wrong name. So you need to have a look in your indicators folder if you're unsure, to make sure what the correct name is for that. You don't need to put .mql4 on the back or anything like that. The header text is, in this case, in Golf. You can put anything you like in there. The column to display signals, 150, so that's how far along you want to start displaying information here. Now this where it might get a bit complicated for some. In the indicators that we use must use buffers for the buy and sell signals. Now you can get that either, again, if you know your coding, you can get it from where it sets the index. Set index 0 bearish, set index buffer bullish. Now I've coded this to help us. It may not be so meaningful in the program you're looking at. Or you can actually, if you look at your data window and hover your mouse over the information, I'll show you that in a minute, you can work out the buffer numbers from there. So obviously you need to know that what those are, otherwise you're not going to get any meaningful signals here. And then you can specify the color for the buy and the sell signal. It's as simple as that, really. So let me just explain how you can use the data window. So just keep an eye on the data window here, and as you hover the mouse over, you can see how the information in the data window changes as you move along. So when you get a signal, let's try and get the one what we're looking for, the engulfing. There you go, it showed it. So that's value 2. But ignore the value 2 because we're using buffer numbers that start with 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will be in order. So you can see there. Yeah, shouldn't be quite so fiddly to do this. So Snorm engulfing, the first value is 1319240. So that's 0. It's the first one. And that is shown as a value 2, 1337500. That's 1. So that's our sell, that's our buy. And you can do the same for the pin bars. And you can see we've got bearish pin, bullish pin. Bullish pin is the second value, so that would be 1. Makes sense? Of course it does. Now there's a few little features in here that I've done. So we've spoken about changing the reference bar, we've spoken about changing the time frames. Like I say, if you do that, you might find it takes a while to refresh if it's processor intensive. Now the other thing is, if you've got a lot of information here and it's not really lined up very nicely for your eyes, you can see the pop-up text says it's on the Aussie dollar, so you can click to the Aussie dollar, click on the name there, and it brings that chart up for you. And I think that's pretty much it. So it's a free gift. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it gives you some use and helps you make lots of pips. And on that note, I shall wish you happy pipping.